Hope you're joining us. We welcome you back to our Mid-American Conference football kickoff preview day as we get a chance to chat with all 12 MAC head football coaches. And one of those, of course, runs the fortunes in Ypsilanti, Michigan. The Eastern Michigan Eagles are up next, coming off a 4-4 mark, as you see in the Mid-American Conference last year, and a squad that is looking for the continuance of that strong MAC performance a year ago as we go into 2024. And with that in mind, we say hello to now in year number 11 as the head football coach of the Eastern Michigan Eagles, Chris Creighton. Chris, great to see you as we start another football season.
It's great to see you guys. And like we said, I think it's been 11 years.
11 years.
It's been a reunion every year. It's good.
It's crazy. You're turning into Santa Claus, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think it's a great look. We talked a little bit about it, man. I'm glad you brought it back.
Yeah. No, it's good.
As we welcome Chris Creighton and his Eastern Michigan Eagles to this beginning of the 2024 MAC football season, you know, right off the top, Chris, got a very familiar name that'll come back and return to the Mid-American Conference, quarterback your football team, as Cole Snyder makes his return to the Mid-American Conference. We've seen Cole's career as it began. Why was it important that you got a quarterback of this type of aptitude for you to bring him in to run your offense?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. You know, as we assessed last season, you're always trying to figure out where you need to improve and, you know, areas of strengths and weaknesses. And we wanted to make the quarterback room maybe a little bit more competitive. So we ended up having 3 new quarterbacks come in January, Cole being one of those, and including our incoming freshman came early. And so, you know, that quarterback room certainly changed from the season into January. Mm-hmm. And Cole obviously was a known commodity. Going back to 22, we had a really good season, and at home, you know, he took us to the woodshed. He just had a great day and beat us. And so obviously we'd known of him in the league for a couple of years, and then getting to know who he is, you know, as a leader and as a person, just thought it'd be an awesome fit.
You think about where you guys have come. You mentioned the 11 years you've been at Eastern Michigan, and you look back at the program. Goodness, it's been since what, 95 to have. You didn't have a winning season since 95 prior to you getting there. I mean, like, you guys have really turned the corner. How do you do it? How did you do it?
Yeah, there's more than one corner to turn.
Okay.
But no, I do appreciate that, because I do think that we are in a different place, you know, than we were, right?
100%.
And my simple answer would be, from the very beginning, we set out, you know, to hire and to recruit great people. Obviously, had to be expert coaches and super talented and passionate players, but at the same time, just people who really wanted to be at Eastern Michigan to try to do something that the whole world said isn't possible, right? And so getting all those people together and on the same page and believing, you know, Max Crosby and his podcast gang of Eastern Michigan football players just came back this summer.
Yeah.
And it was like a reunion, you know? And those were the guys who, most of those guys were seniors in 2016 that actually took us from some pretty dark times, you know, to a winning season and to the Bahamas Bowl and all of those things. And so, yeah, just the belief, you know, and guys wanting to be there to do it, I think is probably a simple answer.
Since you brought it up, Max Crosby came back, donated some coin. It's Max Crosby Field now, right?
It is Crosby Field, yeah.
Crosby Field, okay. How cool is that, man?
It's so cool. You know, I mean, he's 26 years old and not even at the prime of his career yet. And he and his wife, Rachel, who was a soccer player at Eastern, you know, decided together to help us in that way.
Amazing.
And yeah, it is amazing, you know, and that's what gets the publicity, but it's just his love for the program and how he stayed in touch. And, you know, he cares deeply about it, and we're so stinking proud of him. You know what I mean? It's just awesome.
It's amazing. Amazing story.
We have gotten very used to a very strong Eastern Michigan running game over the course of the last few years. We know it's something that you put a lot of pride in it, what you did. Samson Evans, Jalen Jackson, Austin Smith.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Eastern Michigan fans, they've all ended their eligibility. None of them return. How's that running back room look, and how big of a point of emphasis and accent when you have three like that have been your bell cows for the last few years? What type of point of emphasis has it been to keep it consistent?
It's really good. I would tell you, and you know this, but I have to say it, right? It's irrelevant if the guys up front aren't able to move people.
Yeah.
And it really starting with the offensive line, I'd say at quarterback, and then with our backfield, and that actually even goes into our wide receivers on offense. You know, the football experience, playing experience at Eastern Michigan, maybe very little with that whole group. However, that does not make us in any way think that, you know, we're in any kind of trouble, right? There are guys that have Division I football playing experience, you know, at other places that are now with us. And we've also developed guys and raised guys up that are ready now. And so lots of new faces, but that doesn't mean inexperience, just inexperience at Eastern Michigan. And we feel really good about it.
So a crazy stat I heard this week about you guys. I'm sure you know it. I'm sure you've heard it, but it's wild. The last 85 games you guys have played, 65 of those were one-possession games. That's insane. It tells you how close you are, but also, you know, it speaks to the competitive nature that you've created.
Won a lot of those now.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Won a lot of those.
65 of 85 games that are one-score game.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
It's a lot. I hadn't heard that stat, but I know there was like a 3-year stretch where we were 1 and 2 in the country. I think with Nebraska. You know, for you know, such a few point differential and wins and losses. And you know, the second corner is we've been to 6 bowl games in 7 full seasons now. We've beaten everybody in the league, right? We've won a bowl game. We have guys going to the National Football League, but we have not won a MAC championship, right? So that is really what our guys are, you know, super focused on. That's that last corner, and to not only do it once, but, you know, to be there.
Sure.
And so that's what we're working on now, and doing it with a lot of excitement.
Yeah, well, excitement, of course, is, I think we've seen that over the course of your time. As we said, in year 11 now, the scheduling now is going to be, you know, we're looking at a pod system that's going to come in. Divisions are no longer, so you're still going to have your state of Michigan rivals in Western Michigan, et cetera. How do you think the program in general, the kids, have taken to this, Chris, in terms of, and you and your coaches as well, of how the scheduling is now going to look in the MAC?
I think we've nailed it for a year. I think it's going to be problematic in a year from now when we have, you know, an odd number. But, and I think, you know, just selfishly, being in the state of Michigan with the 3 schools, it's perfect, right? I mean, we get to keep that, the Michigan MAC and the rivalries and whatnot. I think that there's going to be, like, for our guys, to answer your question, for coaches, I really don't think that it's going to be relevant until the end of the year when you're trying to figure out who the best 2 teams are, you know, and if they're both from the original West and whatnot. You know, I think that's when there's going to be a lot of talk about it. Otherwise, we've played everybody in the league. You know, it's been a rotation, and so I don't think it's going to feel any different in that way. Just when they start at the end of the year talking about, hey, these guys are going and these guys are going, and trying to figure out how all that worked, I think, is when there'll be some talk about it.
Because of your time in the conference, as we said, into year 11, has that now given you a definitive scope of how you want to recruit and the way that you want to formulate and make your football team every year? Has time virtually added to the way of now, this is the type of young man that's going to be an Eastern Michigan Eagle, and this is the type of young man that we know that can play the type of football that we want to be the most effective with?
No question. I think that's the feedback that we get too. You know, when anybody ever visits, whether it's recruiting or a friend or, you know, whoever just coming for the first time, excuse me, our culture is super strong. There is a feel to our program. It's undeniable. That's not for everybody, but that's okay, right? Recruiting ends up being keeping people away as much as it it means bringing people in.
Yep.
Knowing what that right fit is. We know who we are. There's no question about that. And guys who fit us are out there, and it's just up to us to find them and for them to meet our guys and to be around, and that's when the magic happens. And so, yeah, I think it's helped us a lot.
Chris, we greatly look forward to seeing you, as always, in your Eastern Michigan Eagles. Always a fun time going to the factory at Rynearson Stadium in Ypsilanti. We look forward to seeing you this season.
It's going to look like a football stadium now, too. Without that track, it's going to look different. I think you'll like
kids
it
like that a lot. Players, kids like it a lot.
It's awesome.
Yeah?
Just wait. Yeah, it's awesome.
Can imagine
what that place looked like 11 years ago.
Yeah, we've come.
Some ways now.
Yep.
We have.
Incredible.
Chris, thanks so much.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys, man.
Have a great 2024.
Appreciate it.
Chris Creighton, the head football coach of the Eastern Michigan Eagles. How do you see the schedule? We've got that trip out to see the Washington Huskies, Dustin, who played in the national championship game last year. Yeah, that'd be a fun trip after at UMass as well. So great opportunity for the Eastern Michigan Eagles during this 2024 campaign. And one of the reasons for that is some of the veterans that they have coming back, Dustin. And, we mentioned a little bit about the run game, but also when you got size and you got tight ends that you can throw the football to right on third down and move those sticks and get first down opportunities, this young man is certainly one of them. Why don't you go ahead and do the honors?
Jared Getzinger. Getzinger or Getzinger? Getzinger. Okay, I don't want to screw that up. But, yeah, it's great to have you, man. It's summer's over. Football's here. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's been a long summer. We've been getting after it, like, every day, and we're really excited where we're at.
Michael mentions the offense. Coach Creighton loves to run the football. We know that. I mean, he's old school, but they throw you the football, and you got a new quarterback coming in, a lot of competition, but it seems like Cole may be the guy. How's things going with that relationship?
I mean, our quarterbacks are great. We're like the receivers and the tight ends. And the running backs are all getting extra work all the time after workouts, on weekends. So we're always getting extra work, building that chemistry with our quarterbacks. One thing, our quarterbacks love watching film.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times with Taylor Powell, just constantly in there watching film. Cole's a film junkie, I'll tell you that. It's really impressive watching him.
So having a new quarterback and a guy that's come in that you guys know, or certainly I'm sure Coach Creighton offensively have told you that this guy has made a strong impression during his Mid-American Conference career in Cole Snyder. What's that been like in not only welcoming him into your Eagles factory, but also being able to benefit from what he's already accomplished and what he brings?
Yeah, so he really wanted like the entire team over when he got here. He came in January. He was like one of the hardest workers on the team, still is. Took leadership role, took that seriously, was voted a captain, and really you just have a presence around him. This guy wants it. You can just feel that when you're around him. This guy wants to come in, get that work in, and help us win a MAC.
Yeah. So, looking back at the last 3 years, you guys have had some good years. I mean, you had a winning season in 21, 22. You guys went 9-4 last year, 6-7, but still go to a bowl game, right? This year, last year, you've been super productive. You graduated in April, so you've got everything here behind you, academic-wise, but now football-wise. What's left for you your senior year?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like everybody on our team, we're just chasing that MAC championship. That's our biggest goal. It's on everybody's mind right now, and we're just trying to get after it.
Yeah.
Jerry, appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thanks so much for coming by with us.
Thank you.
And sit tight. You're good. Sit tight for a moment. But we look forward to getting into Ypsilanti and seeing you and your Eagle teammates this year.
Awesome.
Have a great 2024, man.
Thank you.
All right. Jerry Getzinger, the outstanding tight end of the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Don't go away. When we come back, we'll take a look at one of the programs that down through the years has been one of the amazing